Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the COP update for this Wednesday on the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, and you're all very welcome. Couple of bits to get through today. We're going to look back at the Benfica 1, Liverpool 3 result, touch on a couple of players. We're going to talk about Mo Salah, and we're definitely going to talk about Naby Keita as well. And Man City are up next, which is good stuff. Where do we start? Let's start with Mo Salah, because Mo Salah played last night, gets taken off. A lot of people in the chat last night when we were doing our post-match show were talking about Salah and talking about, should he start on Sunday? He's out of form. He hasn't scored X amount of time. For me, he has to start. I'll put it out there fairly early. If you're in the chat and you want to tell me different, absolutely tell me different. But I would start Mo Salah on Sunday. He is going through a bit of a tough time. There's no doubt about that. And something, it's happened before. I think we mentioned that last night. It was, I want to say 18-19. On that run up to the Southampton game, I don't think he'd scored in 7, and he scores. Then he goes on another run. He's had a tough time, and the African nations, the elimination from the World Cup playoff against Senegal, he won't get to play in a World Cup. Possibly won't now. Won't get that chance again. So it's been a difficult time for Mo Salah, but he's the sort of player you stick by. You stick by him. You put him out on the pitch. And all it takes is one moment, and he scores a goal, or he sets up a goal, or he does something brilliant, and all of a sudden it clicks for him again. He seems to be trying a bit too hard for me, which is that happens. That absolutely happens when players are out of form. They do try too hard. They try to do things that they don't usually try to do. Like he was running down avenues last night that he wouldn't usually run down, that sort of way. So it's a bit of a mad one. So look, we'll have to on Mo Salah. Let me know what you think. Chris Brack asks, any crisp chat? No. Jamie says Salah starts. Patrick says rest him in the next leg of the Champions League. Which is, look, I think that's a good show. From Patrick. If he wasn't trying, then I'd have an issue, but he is getting the chances, just needs to take one. Says Curtis J. I realise there's a problem here. I don't have this chat bar turning up on the screen for me, so I'm just reading them out. Let me see. He needs a goal to go in soon, says Kevin Ball. But is Sunday not the perfect one? Is Sunday not the perfect one where, he's just... he's primed for Man City. Turn around. Say for argument's sake he doesn't start against Man City. Man City are going into that going, Salah's not starting. Fucking hell, Salah's not starting. Now, I'm not saying they wouldn't worry about if it was a Jota or a Diaz or a Firmino that would come in from, but it would give a huge boost to Man City to see Mo Salah not starting the game. And yeah, he's out of form. And yeah, he's running down avenues that he probably doesn't. He's trying to hit passes that used to come off and they're not coming off at the moment. He has got the contract stuff going on. And as much as we wanted, or I want to, we kind of ignore that at the moment until something concrete happens on it. I've seen stuff today, we've offered him 400 and he's rejecting. All hearsay, all guesswork. Don't panic over that. But you have to back him. I don't think it does him any good. I think a rest... Yeah, if you can fit him a rest in somewhere, i.e. Benfica next week, that's probably a good show. But it's I think personally, you start Mo Salah and you don't play him back into form, but you don't take him out of big games. I think that does more damage than good. Let me see. I don't know what's going on with that screen, why it's not showing up for you, so I apologise for that. So I will read out as much as I can. Jamie says he's overthinking things when he's through on goal. No doubt he'll bounce back, so good to have options from 60-65. James says afternoon, Gav. Good afternoon, my man. Look, everyone I think agrees we start Mo Salah. So will we leave that there at the moment? Do we all agree that we play him on Sunday? You try get him a rest somewhere where you can give him like say he starts Sunday and you say to him, right, listen, you're just going to train, don't worry about the game against Benfica, you'll be back for the cup semi-final. That gives him a little bit of time off, just away from one game where he doesn't have to think about it. I think that might do him good. But then again, I'm saying that, and Salah turns up from the AFCON after a horrible disappointment and plays, just demands to play. You know what I mean? So it could be a case where they're talking about Salah and he's like, no, I'll get it right, keep playing me. Torres Salah, good training, a day off or a goal off his backside, a high quality assist, any one of those would make a world of difference. Kevin Ball agrees, start him and rest him for Wednesday. So we'll do that. I want to talk about Naby Keita as well, because me and Keith on a show last night. It was really good. Absolutely hopping last night. Loads of brilliant comments. It gave us loads to talk about. But I think we brushed over Naby Keita a bit last night. And I think we've spoken loads about Naby Keita. Loads and loads and loads. And I've always been of the opinion that Naby Keita has all the tools to be a really, really good Liverpool player. Very stop-start his Liverpool career. His availability has been an issue. And when he comes back, he's bright, and then he gets a knock and he's gone. And even recently it happened, didn't it? He doesn't figure against Watford because he had a knock, comes back, feels it again, doesn't feature against Watford, but goes straight back into the team last night against Benfica. And I have to say, I don't think we made enough of him last night. I rewatched the game last night, and I thought he was excellent. I gave Luis Diaz man of the match, and I think that was a fair show. But geez, there was nothing in it between him and Keita for me. He covered so much ground, and you've seen different facets of his game. He's breaking up play, sliding tackles, chasing, harrying, winning ball, quick passes, releasing players, tight areas, getting out of them, playing it simple when he needed to. I thought Naby was absolutely brilliant last night, and it's a bit like the Thiago situation, isn't it, where you just wish and hope that he stays fit. And because you've seen it last night how big an asset he is. I thought he was absolutely brilliant last night. Patrick would start Naby over Hendo on Sunday. I'd go the same midfield as yesterday. Interesting. That's an interesting show, Patrick. I'm going to be honest with you. It is an interesting show, but we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see on that. I just thought he was absolutely brilliant. And some really good passes. He has he's a couple of good chances as well, especially that header first half where he kind of loops it over the bar. He probably should do better. He's a couple of chances in the box to get a shot away. He kind of gets blocked out, but more so, like he gets that assist for Diaz. I know it hits Otamendi and goes through, but I actually think if it doesn't hit on Otamendi, I think it gets to Diaz's feet, and he still has a chance. But outside of all that, his harrying, pressing, winning the ball back, just being annoying to the opposition. I thought he was absolutely excellent. So if you want to tell me how you feel on Naby Keita, because as I said, I think we brushed over him a little bit quick last night. Shout it in there and we'll see what we can do. If Naby stays fit and plays like that, he's definitely getting a new contract, says Kevin Ball. James says, I really think Salah needs this City game. Dropping him, I think, would only hurt him. That's just gone back on the Salah thing. Owen Newell says, Naby was outstanding, struggling a bit beginning of the second half, but then switched to the left. He was great defensively. I thought he struggled a bit at the beginning of the second half. I think everyone did. When we let that goal in, and I mean, you look back at it, Konate just takes a swing at it and then nearly pulls out of it. He'd actually been better stopping it with his right foot and clearing it and taking a touch in the box. Maybe a little bit more communication there to say, look, take your time. And everyone's head goes a little bit for probably 15. Probably a little bit, about 15 I think is fair. But then we got back on it. The subs make a difference. But I really think Naby was exceptional last night in all parts of the game. When we look at Naby Keita, we look at a player that he's really good at pressing. We know that. But we're looking for a player to do what he done for that goal, where he gets onto a loose ball really quick in midfield. When Liverpool are in danger of losing it, in a dangerous position, because of where the rest of our players are on the pitch, and he just swoops on it and he's gone, and 2 touches, he's cutting across their player that he can't touch they can't touch him. He's breaking into space and he's hitting the pass. He's not afraid to hit the pass. You know, a lot of players would have probably kept going, probably got crowded out, or maybe had a shot, but it was really good. And it was all them things, just bits and pieces all throughout the game where I thought he was really good. And we know we can do that. That's what we expect from that breaking from midfield. We know we can press. But physically, he was good last night. And ball retention, I thought, was really good. So it's good to see from him. And again, it's another option going into the end of the season when we have like a mammoth amount of games, which is absolutely brilliant. Naby, sorry, I read that from my own Newell. I think Hendo starts against City, but Naby definitely has put his hand up for selection at the weekend. Gav, did you see the it's hard to read that, Antico. Horrific getting into the ground. Oh, I did see some of that. I'll come back to that in a minute. Naby excellent last night, but needed consistency from him. I go Fabinho, Hendo, and Thiago versus City. That's Jamie. Salah has to start, says Paul Gormley. These big games is what he's all about. I fully agree. Keita has been quietly efficient all season, playing in a mix of his own role and Genie's, says own book. Just about to getting into the ground. I think afterwards as well, they were held in for an hour. Yeah, there's a lot of Liverpool fans going on about that last night. I think they were kind of all herded into areas and stuff like that, held for an hour afterwards. I've seen a couple of people saying that there was a few batons taken out by the police as well, you know. And like, I've also seen stuff on Twitter going, "Oh, Liverpool fans as usual." But in fairness, I have seen Man City fans come out and back it up and say, "Yeah, that's happened to us." I think Man City have played Benfica, and they played Sporting Lisbon, and I think it's similar happening to them. So Man City fans kind of backing up that they can get a bit heavy-handed. And from any footage I've seen, Liverpool fans were having a nice time in Lisbon, no trouble. Getting in was a bit of an issue. Coming out, held for an hour, and then kind of one guy was saying that his hotel was across from the stadium, and he was still made to walk down to the metro station, which is ridiculous. Like, if you can show something to say I'm staying in the hotel, surely you should be allowed to cross the road and go into it. But that happens at times, and with a bit of luck, Liverpool, the club, take this on board from fans and let it be known to UEFA or Benfica themselves, wherever it might be, because there's no need for it. Like, everyone seemed to be in good spirit. Liverpool have won the game, and you know, all the fans want to do is get out, make their way to their hotels or where they're going for a drink safely without any of this sort of messing. And sometimes it can be heavy-handed, but hopefully between the supporters groups, fans that have been there, the club themselves, something can be just brought forward, you know, to Benfica, UEFA, and wherever it might be. So hopefully everyone got out safe and sound, and it was a good result as well. I'd start Naby over Thiago on the left-hand side, Hendo on the right, says Richard. The play between him and Trent and Mo was great in the first half, says Owen Neil. He was really good first half, breaking stuff up and getting the ball to Salah and getting it to Trent. And probably that's why Salah stood out so much, because he was getting plenty of it, but it just wasn't happening for him. Thiago, Diaz, Jota off the bench, if we're drawing or behind, that is an impact bench, says Richard. I believe that was the first game Naby, Fab and Thiago have started together. James reckons that Naby, Fab and Thiago is our best by a distance. Let me... I think that's a bit simplistic. I think there's certain games where Fabinho starts. I think there's games where you don't start Thiago. I think there's games where you don't start Henderson. I think there's games that you don't start Keita, Milner, Jones, whoever you want to. It's finding the right mix for the game. It's also finding the right mix for who's available, minutes and legs, who's played 3 days previous. There's loads of it. But I don't know where our best midfield is. You know, and I could probably pick you a different midfield for Champions League final if we were playing, say, Atletico, Man City, Chelsea or Real. I could probably pick you a different midfield if we were playing Villarreal or Bayern Munich in a semi. I could probably pick you a different midfield for next Wednesday if it was tight, you know, the sort of way. And it still is a tight enough game. I don't go in for this best midfield stuff, and I don't go in for this best forward line either, or even back line. Alisson is our best goalkeeper. Trent's our best right back. Robertson's our best left back. Van Dijk's the best centre back in the world. But then you would go, oh, Kanate for pace. Matip is good at pass now. Gomez has pace. You know, there's loads of different ways. I don't really go into the best of, because I've been banging on for so long about this being a squad game. Going back to, you know, even going back to not January gone, the one before, when we were stuck and our squad was thin and we were looking for players to come in, and we did eventually do it, but it wasn't a massive move we made. I've been banging on about a squad, and that's what it is. And we're talking about impact benches. You could easily go and play Fabinho, Thiago Henderson, and have an impact bench of Milner for a certain reason, Jones for a certain reason, Keita for a certain reason, Oxlade-Chamberlain for a certain reason, wherever it might be, Jones, wherever it might be. But you could easily go Fabinho, Keita, Thiago or Henderson, or wherever it might be. You can do it for any given game, and then the impact. When you're talking about how good your impact your bench is, that shows how good your squad is. And you want to start the game in a certain way, and you want to impact it in a certain way. And they mightn't work in tandem if you switch them around and say, oh, if they're going to be really good off the bench, why can't we start them? Games evolve, you know, the sort of way. So I'm not really into the best of, but trust me, I'm comfortable with all of them. I am absolutely comfortable with all of them. Paul Gormley says Naby's passed his test for a new contract. Ox, on the other hand, Ox has been out. He's been out in the cold a little bit now, isn't he? It's not looking great for him. He hasn't really been included. You may see him. It's a bit like Firmino, who, when he was injured, you were going, will he get back in? Diaz is in, he's brilliant. You know, you look at Jota's form, 20 goals this season already. You look at Mane, you look at Salah, and you're thinking, will Firmino get back in? I think Firmino will play a big part in this season, the rest of the season. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain may play some part, but if I was putting money on it, I think you'll see Oxlade-Chamberlain depart Anfield at the end of the season. And that's probably why you look at Milner and say, will you let him go as well? One could feed off the other. Thiago is the conductor, him and Fab as a two is the key, says Jamie. Yeah, I fully get that, because I like Fabinho will always be in your best midfield, because he's just so fucking good at what he does. He's better than, by a mile, and I will say by a mile, than anybody else in their squad at that sixth position. Thiago controls, and then you look for the guy on the right hand side to impact. But I'd have no problem Henderson going in there and saying you control, because Henderson can control in a different way, where he gets it, he keeps it, he plays it simple, and where Thiago's a bit more flair about him. But I've no issue putting Henderson in there and saying, right, Elliot, you go and play. Jones, you go and play. Keita, you go and play. So, you know, it all depends on the game. That's just the way I am. But if you want to tell me your best midfield, go ahead, do it. We've about 10 minutes left. I'm really freaked out as to why this screen isn't working right, by the way. I don't know if you can hear it in me, but I'm really freaked out about it, because it usually pops up nice and instant, but I'll fix it. Let me see. Can't believe people wanted to leave Salah out Sunday. All players go through a rough patch, but at Xmas everybody was calling him the best in the world, and now they want him dropped. Come on, says Darren McCanty. It does him no benefit to take him out when he's available in a massive game. No benefit to anyone. It actually spurs on the other team. That's just me. And I will be starting him 100%. We have to go Hendo, Fab, Thiago, I think, for City, because it's the best balance in midfield. Last night was a little too attacking, which won't work against City, I don't think, says Anthony. Gav, can we give Trent his flowers? He may actually be the best passer in the league. He's a joke, says MC. And Dico meant the Anfield rap. Yeah, that's where I seen it. Paul Senior was the one I seen going on about the stuff after the game, but I've touched on it, so I'll move on. But thanks for clearing that up. Yeah, the Anfield rap, and Paul Senior in particular was going on about it. MC says he's a joke. Trent is a joke. It's listen, can we put all this he can't defend stuff to bed as well? Like, if that's all you're throwing at Trent Alexander-Arnold, there's not much hope for you. He's absolutely fucking unbelievable. You know, the one where he throws the dummy and puts it in behind for Salah is ridiculous. But the ball for the goal, and I put it up on Twitter again this morning, I said it last night, he literally hits a lofted ball with topspin. And that's what he does. Because if he just hits that normally, that's floating and floating and floating, and Diaz is nearly waiting on it. This thing goes up in the air and comes down like he's hitting a different free kick. It's mad looking. He's ridiculous. He's the best right back in the world, and I'm not even going to argue with anyone because I don't think there's anyone out there like him. He's literally a playmaker from right back. He's getting assists. He gets the odd goals. He defends well. Even though he's more or less a right winger, he still defends well in the Liverpool defence. His range of passing is ridiculous, and he's just getting better and better. He's 22 years of age or something. Like, it's scary. Like, he still has like possibly 4 or 5 years to actually develop as a footballer, and then be at 27, 28, and in his absolute prime. It's fucking scary how good he is. And if anyone goes in and goes, well, can you defend? Stop the conversation. You're wasting your fucking time. Let me see. They wouldn't let them into the ground for a while, says Kevin Ball. Yeah, and there was an issue coming out, I think, as well. So, but I'm sure we'll hear more of it. Can we talk about Atletico's 5-5-0 formation? Just amazed me. Some people want Simeone after Klopp. That's the away goals rule. He's decided now I don't need to score away from home. And he's going for a 1-0 win at home and penalties. That's what he was. 7-3 formation at times, his own book. Yeah, and it's going to be absolute war at the Wanda next week. It really is. Let me see. Thiago's the best midfielder we have. Why would Naby start over him? Yeah, he is. He's a brilliant footballer, Thiago. He's a brilliant footballer. But there is games that will probably start other players over him. There's other games that start or players over Henderson, Thiago, Jota, Mane, Diaz. There's games for everyone. It's different games all the time. Jamie can't believe people are saying they would drop Salah and Thiago for City. You see, I'm not mad about that word drop. I think the Salah one, there's a lot being made over his form. And you go, that would look like a dropping of him because he plays every game. The Thiago one, as I said, put Thiago on the pitch, fine. Have Thiago on the bench and you're putting in someone else, fine. We just have to learn to trust this manager. Trust what he's thinking, trust what he's looking at, trust his game plan. Because we only said it the other day, 160 wins in 250 Premier League games. It's ridiculous. And then you look at Europe and you look at the other trophies he's won because of his success in domestically and in Europe. And he has one under the belt this time. So, listen, he'll definitely have a plan. I think that win last night by 2 goals might alter what he does on Sunday. But again, when the team's announced on Sunday, just be comfortable with it. He's doing it for the good of everyone. He's not doing it to wind anybody up. How can people say that Fab, Thiago and Keita are Liverpool's best midfield when last night was the first time they played together? Keita has to play like that for at least 9 to 10 games. I think people go along with that because Fabinho, Thiago, you know what they're doing. It's the impact you're looking off the right hand side going forward. And Keita ticks a lot of boxes. Ticks a lot of boxes in that way. Reliability and availability, maybe that's thrown him a little bit. But overall, I think you could throw 2 players at 2 positions at midfield and have an argument over it. And you'd have a very viable argument over it. So that's the way it is. Let me scroll down here a little bit. Jack Max says, Gav, massive result last night. Naby really stepped up last night. His true balls were lovely. Real driving force, occupied the spaces very well. Yeah, he did. I thought he was. I don't think we gave him enough credit last night, so I wanted to give him some today. Let me see. Score prediction for City. It's a bit early, but if anyone wants to throw them in, absolutely throw them in. We'll be interested to see how City rotate their apparent small squad for the next 3 games. Chris back firmly with his tongue in his cheek there. Did we not start Jota, Mo, Mane and Bobby the last time away to City? We did. We absolutely did. That was wasn't long after Jota signed, wasn't it? And he went with the 4 of them. I don't know if we do it again. Because this is literally knife edge stuff now. Who would you start against City? Says MC. Right now, Alisson, Trent, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson. I would go Fabinho. I'd go Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson. And I'm only saying that because it's Man City. Because I do want that player from the right side of that tree to make an impact. But the impact you might need on that is not containing City, but being solid and not giving them much space. Now, Naby was brilliant at it last night. but he wants to go forward more than Henderson will. Henderson's a bit more disciplined, I think. And I'm not saying Naby's not disciplined. I just think Henderson might be a little bit more disciplined for this game. But Naby coming on 65, I have no issue with it. Let me say that. I would probably go Henderson just for his experience in the game, because Man City and Liverpool have had a lot of bleeding head-to-head games, and Henderson's been involved in a lot of them. So I'll probably go that. Up front, though, I'm definitely starting Salah. I think it's tough after that. I think Diaz is becoming harder and harder to leave out of the side. And I think he genuinely give Walker a terrible time. I think he might start Diaz. And then up front, you've three there to pick from. You have Mane, who's still scoring goals through the middle. You've Jota. And you've Firmino. He could do Firmino with Mane. He could go back to his old tried and trusted, and I think he'll do that in certain big games. But it's just an array of talent up there, and they're all playing really well, and they're all a different option. The more I think of it, I think he might go Mane, Salah, Firmino. I think it's hard to leave Diaz out, and Jota the same. But these two players look like they're just come on. I'm not mad about Firmino coming on as a sub, and Mane probably the same. But Jota coming off the bench is a different element altogether, especially movement in the box. And Diaz with a tiring, say, Kyle Walker or John Stones or whoever plays right back, because I think Stones plays right back for them during the week. Maybe that was just a thing to get Walker a rest. But Diaz coming on to a tiring player as well, I think is a frightening prospect. Go Henderson because he's far more reliable than Naby. Don't be afraid to say it, Gav. Says Stephen. It's not that he's more reliable. I just think he suits this game better than Naby Keita. If we're away to Arsenal or Spurs or Chelsea at the weekend, I would probably argue you get away and you could do Naby Keita, because I don't think Spurs midfield do an awful lot. I think they're very reliant on their wing backs and their forward players. I think Chelsea the same. Arsenal, two sitting, you could put Naby Keita in there, but I think with City's midfield, if De Bruyne is in there, Rodri will sit. You've a couple, Bernardo could play there. You have got players that are going to try get into spaces, find areas where they can turn and hurt you. And I think Henderson can do that a little bit better than Naby Keita. That's just the way I think. Patrick Fanny agrees with me. They know City the best, and Bobby will help the midfield the most. Hope Chelsea get hammered tonight, says Kevin Ball. I'm watching Burnley against Everton. I'm not going to lie. But look, there's loads of days to go before we play Manchester City. Today is Wednesday. We're going to have a big chat again tonight on the midweek fix. And again, if you have any topics that you want us to talk about on it, head into the Telegram group. You can access that if you're a subscriber through our community page on our YouTube. Get in there. I've asked people in there what they want us to talk about. Haven't answered me yet, the fuckers. But if there's any topics you want talked about, we will. I'm going to let the guests bring some topics that they want to talk about as well. We're definitely going to do that tonight. Tomorrow I'll have this cop update again, and we'll find some bits to talk about. And I think we're off Thursday night. Friday I'll be back, and we'll have Sports Unplugged on Friday. We'll be back on Sunday, and we are going to do, I think, a post-match show straight after City, and then we will do the Fatback 4 later on at 10 p.m. So hopefully that all works for everyone. Biggest thing though, Féileacáin, link in description. Please donate if you can. If you can't, please take the link, share it amongst your family, friends, colleagues. If you want to do some, charitable stuff yourself, like, some fundraising thing yourself, and you want us to help you out or back you with it, we absolutely will. If you want to do that and to try to help, please do. The donations have dried up a little bit, and we understand there's a lot going on in the world, but if anyone can throw us a few quid, please do. And if anybody, as I said, if you can share it and get us to that 10k, it'd be brilliant. We're closing, we should be, by the end of this month, we'll be halfway there, but we'll only have May and a part of June to get the other half together. But as I said, if we don't get there, we will continue on beyond the 10th of June, when we will try get that 10k. Gary Larby says the like button, guys. Yeah, hit the like button on your way out if you want. Subscribe if you haven't already. 40% of people watching this aren't subscribed. So if you want to subscribe, please do. As you can see on screen, 40 shows per month, free on YouTube and across all your podcast platforms. Chris Brack is saying that Reclaimer will be fuming, only 45 likes. Yeah, hit it on your way out. It's absolutely cool. We can't make you do anything. If you like it, subscribe. If you don't, it's absolutely fine. We're big boys. We can take it. That has been the Cop update for today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for all your comments and input. And we will talk to you later on at 10 p.m. Over now.